everyone. Welcome to episode 135 of Formidable Opponents, a show that pits three people who have known each other virtually their entire lives in a series of conversations as we argue what is best in a variety of fun, engaging, and critical pop culture topics we all debate about. I'm Randall, and with me as always, Bob and Joseph. And this week's topic is Best Blink-182 Songs. This week, we have an even bigger debate than do aliens exist? Because we're talking all things both big and small about Blink-182. Blink-182 didn't just play pop punk. They were the flag bearers for an entire generation of rock. Through power chords and bathroom humor, Blink-182 took what was largely considered an underground genre and injected it with energy and relatability, launching a very successful brand of pop punk into the mainstream. We saw punk emerging in the 90s with bands like Green Day and The Offspring, and though those bands saw huge success, Blink-182, they took things a bit further. They tapped into suburbia, utilizing sophomoric humor and added infectious hooks and a radio-friendly sound. Aside from ushering the pop punk movement in the late 90s, they balanced humor and heart. Sure, they were immature, see What's My Age Again, and Family Reunion, but they avoided the stigma of being a joke band by counteracting with genuine emotional depth. See Adam's Song and Stay Together for the Kids. Their look and sound became the pop punk blueprint. Fast, punchy riffs, catchy melodies, ushering the explosion of punk bands who tried to be exactly like them. See Sum 41 and Good Charlotte, among dozens others. As they grew up, so did their music, a band that through inner turmoil made amends after near tragedies, whose camaraderie outbattled ever-changing viewpoints, differing opinions, and personal growth. Blink-182 wasn't just a band, they created a cultural shift. They took punk and they made it fun and accessible. They gifted their music to hangouts, breakups, immature jokes, and the soundtrack to your youth. Are they the most important pop punk band ever, or just the most fun? We'll find that out today as Formidable Opponents debate and discuss Best Blink-182 Song. With me, as always, two guys who work alone to get this podcast episode right. Bob and Joseph, my first question, where are you?
Oh, no. It's over. Thanks a lot, folks. We really promised. He's definitely a day late and a buck fucking short with that one. What's going on,
early.
folks?
He's got a lot of energy. It's early.
Y'all would freak out right now. Joseph has so much light in his room. He's going to melt at any moment, folks.
So just to give some context, this is a rare afternoon recording. I think this is like our third one. And by the way, thanks, guys. I love listening to my kids wreck stuff in the background as I try to focus on this show. I placed a pillow under the doors, and they're doing nothing to insulate the sound. And my neighbors are drinking and playing corridos. So
yeah, right. All right.
Well, I apologize if you hear wind chimes.
It's still brunch time.
It's way too early. Joseph just woke up, but we're ready to go.
I apologize for the wind chimes. It's a little windy out here. There's some guy that lives down the street who drives a motorcycle, and he goes up and down the road. So
try where you say hearing police sirens, Joseph. You're fine. It's just a motorcycle.
It's day.
I was just thinking about this. If we would have waited 47 more episodes, this could have been episode 182. But we jumped the gun.
Fuck.
We're here now.
Way to go.
So how are you guys doing, by the way?
Good. What's going on, everybody? It's good to hear. We're doing. I think this is the first time. No, never mind. We'll skip that. I was gonna say this is the first time we've done two episodes in a row in a while. So
in a row,
we're actually placing this a week later just to spread things out a bit because we're taking the next 2 weeks off.
Jesus Christ!
We're gonna pretend it's March Madness and that Duke is in the Final Four.
Yeah, Duke.
So, guys, we're talking about Blink-182, a very important band for our generations, right? Several generations spanning. First question, do you remember the first time you heard Blink-182, and what were your first impressions?
It was either from watching Can't Hardly Wait or my brother bought. I know my brother bought the Dude Ranch album CD, and I know he would play that a lot. Jaime was really into pop punk back in the days, so he had a lot of that stuff. He had a lot of bands that you may not even know. But so I don't remember let's just say that Jaime showed it to me. So I do remember the first song.
Whoa. Put that in context.
My first, the first song you know what? No, I'm sorry. Maybe it was Can't Hardly Wait, because the first song I know of is Damn It. I remember hearing people talk about this song or talk about this band in general. They had gotten really popular. A lot of the girls that we hung out with in high school were really into Blink-182, and they had their stickers and t-shirts, and it's like, so did you not listen to Blink-182? You don't know what I didn't know what Blink-182 was. I just remember hearing this song and thinking, you know what, it's not that bad. I mean, I've always kind of been this, hard rock guy, even in high school. But it was actually a really good song. I liked the guitar part, the drumming. I thought it was really good. That was probably my first impressions of them, just thinking, you know what, this is actually a pretty cool song.
Yeah, it was American Pie and Can't Hardly Wait. I mean, their songs both came out in those movies. So, and then obviously getting into their music, I remember your brother was really into them at that point in time. Joseph had their CD, and we obviously stole it and listened to a lot of it.
Made our own copies.
Yeah, so of course we can do that back in the day. But yeah, that was my first experience with it. It was American Pie and Can't Hardly Wait.
Your brother didn't introduce me to Blink-182, but he introduced me to so many bands. I remember AOL.
Psychedelics.
He would pop into like the AOL Instant Messenger and like, oh, you got to listen to Phoenix, Texas, or you got to listen to Melancholy. He would throw in all these bands that every week
Agent
he would.
Felix.
Yes.
He was really into those.
Yeah.
Y'all just making shit up at this point, man.
No.
Smell your peanut butter. It's anything, right? But but for me, I was in college. I remember watching the video for the song "Damn It." It was like late '97, early '98. I was 20 years old. Just to give you an idea. I just want to give you an idea how damn long this band has been around. I'll be 50 at the end of next year. This band has been around forever. So, I mean, it's old now. Now I'm saying "damn it" when I get out of my SUV and I step wrong, right?
Step on a kid's Lego.
I guess this is growing up. He sings that to himself anytime he gets pissed off.
This is growing old, right? I won't get into the song now for obvious reasons that'll soon be divulged. But these guys were they're all around my age, and they all looked and dressed the way I looked and dressed, and my friends looked and dressed back in the late 90s. And you couldn't relate to grunge bands past the music, because when grunge was big before pop punk, they were all depressed and on drugs. You couldn't really relate to it. And a rock generation before, the glam rock, I couldn't relate to hair metal bands because I couldn't wear leather and makeup. My parents are Mexicans. They would have cry-screamed me all the way to the church, right? And they would have given me an exorcism and beat my ass with tree branches. So couldn't relate to that. So this was finally a genre where the bands looked like the way everyday high school and college students look like. Blink-182's appeal wasn't their music for me initially, but it was their look. They looked like normal people, and this was when they had Scott Raynor on drums, not Travis Barker. And shortly after, I watched Josie with everybody's crush, Alyssa Milano.
Yep.
And I was locked in. I think Blink-182.
I don't know how they pulled that off. I mean,
especially where they were.
She was still pretty big
shit.
at the. I mean, at the time, and not to say that she's well, whatever. But I'm surprised that they pulled that off.
So, and I think Blink-182 Blunk. I think Blink.
You're gonna fuck yourself up. He's gonna say it a bunch of times later.
Say, damn it.
I think Blink-182 is best discovered at 12 or 13, which is probably around the age you guys discovered them, right? Because that was kind of the demographic they spoke to, where you're just learning about who you are, what you like, heartbreaks and heart takes. So it was just a good band to discover in your youth, right?
Ran, you recently saw them, didn't you?
I did. I have.
I was trying to remember that.
I have a lot of stories peppered throughout my notes, and I'll talk more about that. Awesome. Blink-182, we know, guys, is known for balancing humor and emotional depth. Do you think one side of their music overshadows the other?
No, I don't think so, man. I think that they kind of played to the crowd when it came to the music video, though. I think that really helped them out, the TRL crowd and stuff like that. So all their playfulness and fun videos, I think it really helped out, because you said you hit the nail right in the head. Like the high school generation of kids, it was endearing to them. They like that kind of thing, and they are fun and interesting and hilarious music videos that went along with their songs. So I don't think it really like overshadowed one or the other, although they do have some really deep songs and deep music videos. So I think it was a good mix of both.
Yeah, I agree. In no way did any of, did one side overshadow the other. Like Bob said, there are a lot of really great songs off of the early albums at the time of I guess, the height of their quote unquote pop punk era. There are, while maybe not, slowed down in tempo or anything like that, still, the typical punk sound that they were known for. If you listen, look into the lyrics to the songs, there are actually some really like heartfelt songs, and I guess different subject matter other than just like, hey, my girlfriend, so so no, but it worked out perfectly. No, it was a great, I think they were probably the best at doing that.
I thought the balance was perfect. I know, and historically, punk has always had a farcical tone to many of their most memorable songs. The biggest punk bands of the previous generations all injected humor in their music. I mean, The Clash had Rock the Casbah, Lost at the Supermarket, Should I Stay or Should I Go? The Sex Pistols had God Save the Queen, Anarchy in the UK, Black Flag had TV Party, Slip It In, and the Ramones had the KKK Took My Baby Away, Beat on the Brat, I Want to Be Sedated, and on and on. So punk has always been tongue firmly in cheek because it's a young person's genre, and young people relate to emotional, moving experiences, and a big emotional movement comes from humor. So I think Blink-182 to me will always be juvenile humor and upbeat pop punk anthems, but they also wrote several deeply emotional and introspective songs like Adam songs, Stay Together for the Kids, I Miss You, Down, Always, One More Time. They had so many, Even If She Falls is another one. They had so many, emotionally, I guess, capturing songs that, I mean, had they been a one-trick pony, they would have perished. I mean, the world has gotten more serious. Bathroom humor doesn't have the platform it once did. Thank you, Gen Z, by the way. 3 guys in their 30s and their 40s singing about first dates and crushes would have been fucking weird. So, I mean, they evolved, and good for them, right?
But here we are doing a podcast.
How did Travis Barker's drumming change the band's sound and impact the pop-punk genre?
I think when you listen to Dude Ranch and then Enema of the State, you do hear a difference. And obviously, it worked out for the best, I guess. It added, I guess, a little bit. And it's not to take anything away from the previous drummer and Scott Raynor and the Dude Ranch album. Those are good. That's a good album. Those are a bunch of good songs. I think it's just with Travis Barker's style, he's got more technicality in his drums. So there's a lot more... it's not just, just
a fun and playful beat. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just, smash the snare drum and as many times as you can throughout the song. It's not a bad thing. I do like, if you've ever seen like videos of Travis Barker just playing drums, he's very, very good. He's very technical. He adds a lot more. It reminds me of Stephen Carpenter, Abe Cunningham, excuse me, from the Deftones. It's just really like more than just pounding the drum to make noise, like poetry in the snare drum and the cymbal play and then the kick bass. So like it was very much a positive, I think. And obviously, I mean, he's been with the band on the whole time, so it worked.
Yeah, Dan, I'm going to agree with that 1,000,000%. Yeah, I think Travis Barker brought a different element to the drumming, and he also brought a different look, not to take anything away from the
he was
original
the most
drummer.
Punk-looking guy.
Yeah, he was the most punk-looking fucker in the band, you know what I mean? Guy with a mohawk and tattoos without a shirt on playing drums added a little more edge to the band, I guess you could say.
Aesthetic, yeah.
He looked like he was straight out of the 80s punk scene.
Yeah, for sure. And again, way more technical. I thought he's a better drummer. Overall, I think he's a better drummer. He's one of the best drummers that we've had over the past, couple of decades. So I agree, man. I think the band kind of evolved as they stepped up and got a new drummer in Travis Barker.
I was looking at Travis Barker's history. He was in a quirky superhero themed ska band called the Aquabats, which I mentioned at the top of the show. I had a few of their songs downloaded.
Don't think that's a bullshit name.
I think
Super Rad. Super Rad's one of my favorite songs.
I think recruiting him to be the drummer of Blink-182 saved both him and the band. I mean, his technical skill, as both of you guys mentioned, and complexity is so proficient. You hear these rapid fire fills, these intricate beats. Scott Raynor was a good drummer. He really was, but he was a good punk rock drummer. Travis Barker's energy and precision gave him a different level. He could play anything. He can play complex solos. He expanded the band's sound. He not only adapts to Tom DeLonge and Mark Hoppus, who are both highly skilled, but they aren't as good on their instruments as Travis is on his. But I mean, he's
well, okay, yeah,
he
I give you that. But
yeah,
I think Mark is an underrated bass player.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of great songs where he has some awesome bass lines, and Tom has some great riffs out there. You wouldn't say like Tom played some great fucking solos or anything. Like he's not up there with Billy Gibbons, but he came up with a lot of great riffs that kind of made the songs come together. Yeah,
obviously Travis is doing way more in the group far musically than what he does, but the other musicians are Tom and
they're good.
Joseph was offended. Joseph was just offended.
Well, no, I do like I in listening to the song and listening to the songs, there's a lot of like great bass lines from Mark. I think he's a very underrated bass player.
I think you'd have to say Travis Barker, maybe one of the top 10 or 15 rock drummers ever. I don't know if you say the same for the other two guys at their instruments.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Maybe, right? And no offense to Matt Skiba, who took over during Tom's departure from 2015 and 2022, but I don't think he made the band better like Travis did. I don't think any of the songs he co-led are on the honorable mentions that I listed, at least. I mean, he was great with Alkaline Trio, but he did nothing for Blink. Travis Barker made the band better. And Bob, we were talking a little bit about Scott Rayner. So what happened to him?
He had a little drinking problem. And I think the band ultimately gave him an ultimatum like, hey, man, you need to clean yourself up or, we're going to let you go. And I think he went on a weekend bender after that. And it was kind of all downhill. I think he made his choice. You know what I mean? He made his bed. And so they went in a different direction. I think it worked out really well for the band, finding Travis Barker after that.
What do you think about that decision, Joseph, when you see Scott Rayner choosing, this lifestyle and then the band making it bigger than they could have ever imagined? How do you think he felt?
Just from the outside looking in, I mean, obviously he realized he made it. I hope that he looked at it as he made a mistake, but at the same time, we're talking about Travis Barker here, like he's like one of the best ever. So I don't know. Would he have held them back? I think they made the right decision they gave him the chance, didn't work, so they moved on. It ended up working out for the best and better for them, and pretty much anybody that's associated with or that's toured with the band that has been some kind of part of the songwriting process. They have touring musicians and touring backup things, but I mean, I think they are very, very successful after this change. Dude Ranch is a great album, but we just talked about it right now. It added an extra element to the sound of Enema of the State. So,
last opening question, guys: where does Blink-182 rank in the all-time pop punk hierarchy?
Oh man, I think they're right up there, man. I think they're top 5. If you're talking about pop punk, not just punk in general, just pop punk, that little subgenre of it. They've got to be in the top 5. I mean, who else would you put ahead of them? Maybe, obviously, you put it Green Day, right? Green Day is probably number 1 in that, right up there. I don't know too many other bands that really have had the lasting career and had so many fucking hits like Blink-182 has. Shit, could be top 2, top 3. So, you have any thoughts? I mean, I don't know. Who would you put ahead of them?
I mean, they are at the top of the pop punk pyramid, in my opinion. If you want to focus on Green Day as a pop punk band, you have to give the commercial success edge to Blink. I think Green Day is a better band, but I think Blink is a more successful band. Then again, you have to blame Blink-182 for shit like Yellow Card, the All-American Rejects, Fall Out Boy, and Newfound Glory, right? I hate all those bands, but I understand.
Well, they never wore eyeshadow. Let me just say that. Blink-182 never wore eyeshadow, so can't blame them all for everything.
I hate all those bands, but I understand why they were huge. They used Blink-182's formula, but their popularity, influence, and legacy, it's cemented Blink-182. You have to remember from 1999 to 2004, for 5 years, they were arguably the biggest rock band in the world. And for 7 years, they were in the mainstream, if you include Dude Ranch. Then in 2005, they stopped. They took a 6-year hiatus and came back without Tom. I'm sure the road to the top and those 7 years, I mean, it burned them out. I mean, hell, we get burned out when we do 3 episodes a month. Could you imagine 7 years of touring? So
yeah, but at least they're getting paid.
So they didn't fade away. They burned out, regrouped, and now they're making their bones through nostalgia and the fans who are sharing them with their kids. And I intentionally made sure not to say 7 years just like the Beatles, because you two will start accusing me of comparing them to the Beatles, okay?
Which is funny. I'm actually going to make a reference to that later on in the show. But yeah, that's funny you bring that up. Go ahead, Joseph.
I put them at the top. I really do. I don't think there's anybody. I mean, if you're gonna, if I know they were still making music around the same time Sum 41 was doing something, so I don't know if you want to add Sum 41 onto a list like this.
I mean, they're good, but I don't know if they had the commercial success. Like, I mean, how many? Like, think of how many hits Blink-182 had compared to somebody like Sum 41.
I think a lesser version of Blink-182 is that band Simple Plan. Do you remember them?
Good comparison.
Motorcycle.
Sing Sugar, We're Going Down Swinging.
Who's that?
Good
Fall
little
Out Boy?
band. Was it Fall Out Boy?
Yeah, it's Fall Out Boy, right?
Yeah, I mean, they had a good little band too. But again, the commercial success and the longevity of Blink-182, I mean, fucking outshines the shit out of all these bands.
And that's why I'm putting them at the top. Like, I think better than Green Day's, because Green Day was originally. Look, I never considered Green Day pop punk until they were.
Yeah, I mean, without Dookie, I mean, definitely Blink-182 blows their shit out of the water.
I think so. I think if you're looking for best album, I think Dookie is the best pop punk album of all time.
Like Green Day's Insomniac album. That's another great album.
That's a great album too. That is a very good follow-up album. But Blink-182, I think just commercially they were more accessible. I think Green Day, on the other hand, sort of stayed in their lane, not to get too mainstream. I mean, they were mainstream obviously, but not getting too poppy. Where Blink-182 said, "We'll do anything. We'll sing, songs that sound like nursery rhymes. We'll do whatever, And
I don't know. I don't know. Fucking Green Day got kind of poppy and bitchy there towards the end. I mean, a lot of their music kind of sucked. Wake me up when September ends. Give me a fucking break, song. Dude. So I don't know. I think you're off on that one, Randall. I think they kind of swerved towards the money route and let's make poppy music for everyone for a while there.
But do they have a song that counters something like All the Small Things or What's My Age Again? What is their like All the Small Things for Green Day? What is like their most poppy punk song? I mean, is it
what's that stupid
Case?
One? No. I was. What's that stupid one where they had all green? Fuck, I didn't even know.
American Idiot.
Yeah, American Idiot. That would be their. I would say that's the one. I don't know, man. There is a certain turning point where it's just like, but you know what's weird about it? I wasn't into Green Day after. What is it, Insomniac? Once they went that other route and they got really poppy, like I wasn't very interested in their music. I've always been interested in Blink-182's music. Every little change and everything that they do, even the funny shit, like I've always been interested in. It's always appealed to me. Green Day, that change, I didn't like at all.
And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because we're talking about, Dookie, Insomniac, Nimrod, some of their, but Green Day kind of like they took a left turn, whereas Blink-182 stayed their lane, right? They kind of stayed the course and they knew who they were, where Green Day tried to do all these things that maybe didn't hit, right?
Yeah, I'd say that.
Mm-hmm. So we're going on to our honorable mentions. Bob, what do you got for us?
Starting off with Let's Stay Together for the Kids, one of their biggest songs in my personal opinion, one of their best songs in my personal opinion, one of my favorites too. So that's a great honorable mention to kick it off with. What's My Age Again? It's a song I play every morning when it's my birthday. And I mean, I always play that song because it's a great song. It's a funny song, and it reminds me of my birthday. So it's can't miss, right? Speaking of miss, I miss you. Say it, Ren. I miss you.
I miss you.
He overreacts. He does too many facial gestures in that song. You know what I mean? He's overselling that shit. Tom, settle down, bro. I like Mutt. I like Stockholm Syndrome. I like Josie, obviously, for Alyssa Milano. Yeah, man. I mean, there's just so many great songs. I'm sure you all going to mention more, but I just throw those 6 out there.
Yeah, I had to just kind of like nitpick because like it started turning into a greatest hits list for me. So
me too.
Which when this episode comes out, we're gonna put all this together like we do with music episodes and put a Spotify playlist together. But I had I'm just mentioning great songs off of some their other albums that you may not know. So Eminem from their first album, Waggy, I think is a great song off of Dude Ranch. Dump Weed, Going Away to College, Man Overboard, Roller Coaster, a song that I really, really like. Obvious, Here's Your Letter, Up All Night, Bored to Death, and I Really Wish I Hated You. I just wanted to throw like that's just some of the list was like starting to go like I was like, wait a minute, I'm just listing songs that I like. So I have to try to just just say some so that you can go out and check those out. But yeah, Rand, what do you got?
I got Asthenia, which is a good blend of old and new Blink-182. I have Not Now, great instrumentals. Man Overboard. I had Reckless Abandon, Stockholm Syndrome, Dick Lips, which is a great song. What's My Age Again? Stay Together for the Kids. I Miss You, Josie. I also had First Date, The Rock Show, Touchdown Boy off Cheshire Cat, and If She Ever Falls. And then the last one I do want to mention, I don't think either of you mentioned this one, their biggest hit, All the Small Things. What is your take on that song?
Yeah, well, I thought one of y'all would mention that. I think that one's great, dude. That one is one that really pushed them over the top as far as popularity. The music video making fun of all the boy bands. Like, I thought that song was extremely catchy, extremely funny music video. That was the one that kind of pushed them into, or helped push them into that next level of like superstardom. You know what I mean? So I think it's a great song, man. The music video, like, with the song, that it's everything.
Of course, What's My Age Again is on my list, but everybody knows that song, so I just didn't, like I said, I just didn't want to mention the more singles. I tried to say other songs that were on those albums. But yeah, definitely, that took them to that next level, I guess. Even after as good as What's My Age Again was, to come back with All the Small Things, I was like, they
found the formula. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They did. I think with this song, this was their biggest hit topping. This was their biggest chart topper. It hit at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. They crafted this song because they knew their breakout album, 1999's Enema of the State, needed a sing-songy hit. The Na 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 was added as an homage to the Ramones. It's almost like a nursery rhyme. It's like if you're 5 years old or 95 years old, this song is just catchy, right? And I don't think it's their best song, but this song, it just covers every demographic.
I agree.
It's used in movies, TV, commercials. Artists cover it. This song is just textbook pop. It's the song that moved them from clubs and theaters into arenas. And so, 2 minutes and 48 seconds can change your life. And it's not just a pickup line, right? So, I mean, just a great song.
I'm stealing that one.
So we're going on to our selections. I'm up first. So for best Blink-182 song, I selected Damn It. This afternoon, as my kids were having lunch, I played the video. I played Damn It for them. And they're 10 and 6 years old and both have attended a Blink-182 concert. And as the video starts, I asked both of them, do you guys know who this is? And my son says, it's Green Day. and my daughter shrugs. Yeah. And so when I told them it's Blink-182, because they know who Blink-182 is and they've seen them in concert, I said, it's Blink-182, guys. My daughter says, they look so young. So for Gen Alpha, these are old dudes other than their dad in caps and shorts. So, I mean, now you know where Blink-182 stands with the next generation. They're old. We're old, right?
Yeah. So, speak for yourself.
There's something about that first song you hear from a band that sticks around way longer than you thought. And no matter how many songs you listen to from them, there's that home base that reminded you why you gave this band a chance. And to me, Damn It is this song for Blink-182. This was right before Blink-182 became a hugely successful rock band. This was before they found the secret sauce that would lead them to this long career. Just a great riff, a fast song, some lyrics we could all relate to. And this was the second release off of 1997's Dude Ranch album. So a SoCal radio station, or SoCal radio stations, I should say, were quick to pick up on the single, finding it a good match alongside Green Day and The Offspring and their radio hit. So they started playing it. Mainstream rock received Damn It in November of that year, and MTV picked up the Damn It video, bumping it to the Stress rotation in December. This led to feature stories in magazines such as Billboard and Rolling Stone. And this song elevated the album Dude Ranch onto the Billboard Top 100, peaking at number 67, which was great because this was a not a very well-known band. This song elevated them to mainstream success. This is the reason why we know the band. Blink-182 bassist Mark Hoppus wrote the song in a short span of time concerning a fictional breakup with a girlfriend. Hoppus described a scenario detailed in the lyrics where former lovers meet in public and one of them is with someone new. It really hurts when you aren't the person feeling the love, said Hoppus, but you have to act like it's cool and you have to save face. And it's happened to all of us. I mean, you see an ex somewhere with someone else, and of course, he's not as handsome or as smart as you, just some douchebag who drives a Nissan Altima, right? With expired paper plates, with bubble window tint.
Yeah, but it's got a spoiler.
With the high beams on and one low beam burned out, and with only liability insurance and, and maybe
Civic.
This is awfully specific there, Randall.
maybe he knows more Spanish than you. No. I'll go on. But by the way, Hoppus wasn't really in the depths of despair over a girl when he wrote the song, which concerns a fictional breakup. So he was just sitting around playing his guitar when a flash of inspiration struck. In only 10 minutes, I wrote the lyrics and music, he recalled. This song was also written out of Hoppus's range. So the strained vocal cords and the band had to pause for a while because every time he's tried to sing this song, he would lose his voice. Because if you listen to the song, Hoppus doesn't sing any other songs the way he sings this song. And it was way out of his range. It's weird hearing him sing at that range. I mean, it's just a memory song, right? It was in Bubble Boy, Can't Hardly Wait, Dawson's Creek. It's a punk anthem. It's fast. It's catchy. Relatable coming of age lyrics. This song may be unapologetically 90s, but it resonates with everyone who grew up at the time. The universal themes of heartbreak, hurt, confusion, rejection, self-doubt. It's all there for us to absorb, and there was no social media around. So yes, it's not their most polished or technically complex track, but the charm and energy of this song launched them. This was the impetus of the band becoming big. It shaped their sound. The video is hilarious and iconic. And I love how the snack guy gets the girl at the end, kind of like playing the Joe Michael role when he guests with us. So what a foundational track it was for them. And Joseph, it only took you 7 hours to download it on LimeWire. So that was great. So what are your thoughts on this song, guys?
It's not the only thing you download on LimeWire.
Obviously, this is when you think of Blink-182, you can't help but mention this song. It has one of, in my opinion, a very iconic opening riff. Yes. That opening riff. I mean, you just know it, at least if you're from our generation, from our age, and or a little bit older. Even some young kids today. That's cool. This was like you said. I think the jumping point, because I do think Dude Ranch is a good album. This is obviously probably the best song off of best song off of the album, most successful, I guess, as far as the single. They did have other singles from this album, and they are good songs as well. I believe it was Josie was the other one. But
she's on a vacation far away.
Yeah, dude, this was obviously, if you had any doubt about this band in the beginning, I think this is a song that you heard and you were like, at least as far as from the financial standpoint or the record standpoint, the people that were going to produce their next album, this was like, okay, there's something good going on here with this band. It's a really great song. I think it's not so I guess funny, because we know one of the things we know about Blink-182 is a lot of the lyrics and some of the songs can be very funny in subject matter and whatnot, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But this song is it's a little bit different. So it's still very much I think the video is what makes it funny. But the lyrics are actually very, like you mentioned, heartfelt about rejection, dealing with the breakup, and that's cool. I've always really liked this song. I've always thought that it had musically had a great beat, great sound. I think Mark's voice hasn't changed a lot. I'll say that sounds good. That's actually good for him. But he sounds really good on this, singing the song, and I love its commercial use. Obviously, if we're just going to talk about anything else, I think this song has spanned over many generations, many different times. It's obviously one of their staples. I'm sure you heard it that night. I don't know if you heard it at the end of the night. I don't know whereabouts they might place it on a playlist, but it's definitely the one that you definitely want to hear that one before the end of the night. Really great song, really great pick, great selection. This was the jumping point for this band, and it's all because of this song.
Jumping point for this show as well, yeah. It's a great pick. It's a great song. I mean, the guitar riff is what really sells this song, at least for me. Anybody who just loves like the music of a song and not just the lyrics, that guitar riff, like you said, instantly recognizable. As soon as you hear it, you know it's this song. You know it's Blink-182. Great lyrics. It's the high school breakup song, so you know it's going to be fucking popular. But this is not, Boys to Men, fucking on bended knee. God damn it, this is like a song for the normal dude, the pop punk dude at school. So it's got a breakup, but with a fun beat. You know what I mean? So you're not just crying. You're kind of moving on. You know what I mean? The lyrics kind of follow suit with that. So it is a really great song. It's a really great pick. Very fun song. Again, the music video is what makes the song fun. The lyrics are very, it's kind of like in the 80s where everybody was singing and it sounds like, oh man, it's a fucking party, but the lyrics are kind of dark and deep. Like it has that kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
That 80s kind of feel. We listen to a lot of 80s music. And some of the ones we didn't really pay attention to the lyrics to before, they have some dark shit going on, but everybody's dancing in a fucking frilly shirt and doing cocaine and backflips and shit with strobe lights, so you don't really tell. You can't really tell. So I think this one has a similar feel to it. Fun song, great. Probably one of or the most recognizable guitar riff out of their entire catalog. This is a great pick, Ren.
When I watched them in concert, this was one of the last songs they played, and of course the crowd went absolutely ape shit. And this is my kid's first concert, so I took him and I was like, "Well, Blink-182 is a great first concert because they sing songs that everybody could enjoy." And after the first song, Mark and Tom are making jokes about eating ass, and I'm like, oh crap, I got my kids here. And so when this song came out, that very famous line, "Did you hear he fucked her?" And I'm like looking at my kids because every time I play that song, I always shout over, "Did you hear he hugged her?" It's just
Such a dad thing to
Good
do.
for you, man. You can find the edited version.
But if it was our dads back in the day, they'd probably be smoking a cigarette in the car with the windows up and saying, "Yeah, he fucked the shit out of her, kid. Real good, King." So that's pretty funny how the generations have changed. Fucking funny stuff.
What do you got for us, Bob?
Well, I went in a completely different direction. Well, not a completely different direction, but in 1999 in Enema of the State, they had a song, Adam's song to be exact. And this song for me is the song that really changed the way that people look at Blink-182. It wasn't just this pop punk fun band that makes these ridiculously fun videos. This was a serious song with serious lyrics, uplifting lyrics, but it had a very serious tone, a different tone in the guitar sound, kind of like, the bass line to it, the guitar riffs, the drumming, like everything was kind of different. And I think you all can agree that when you hear this song compared to a song like Damn It or All the Small Things, it's different. And I think that this, for me, at least, made me realize, like, holy shit, this band is a serious band. They're not just this fun band. They have different levels, I guess, to their music. And I was really taken aback with it when I first heard it. And the meaning then, when I was a kid listening to this when I was in high school, compared to like the meaning now, like hearing it all week before we were making the choice and doing it, man, it really does take on two different meanings, The lyrics are definitely second to none. They're very poetic. They cut deep. There's definitely this emotional aspect to it. And, thinking of somebody like Mark who wrote the lyrics on tour, who was just lonely, on tour and sad going home after the end of the tour to nothing, no girlfriend, no nothing. So, you have a different perspective when you're a young man as compared to now that you're older. You look back and you hear the lyrics and you hear the lyrics and you read the lyrics and you're like, holy shit, the lines kind of affect you. Like the one that's like, I never thought I'd die alone. Like, what a fucked up lyric to be singing and to be singing along with when you're 18 and then you're in your fucking 40s now and you're kind of looking back like, Jesus Christ, I hope that's not me. It's just overall, it's a great song. I love the tone. I love the lyrics, Mark's vocals, the guitar riff, bass line's killer. Just the overall feel of that song that makes you think. I think it's a song that makes you think, and it makes you think then when you're younger. It makes you think even more so now that we're older. It's just, I think it's their best, man. It's their most different. Closely compared to something like Let's Stay Together for the Kids or Joseph's Pick, which we'll talk about later on. But I think that this is their best overall song, and that's my pick, man. What do you guys think?
This is such a poignant track. And it was the song that broke them away from that goofy skate punk group that sang about jokes and crazy stuff that goes on around when you're young. When you watch the video, the band is still very much in their punk aesthetic. They still look like the clown princes of punk, but now the tone has shifted. And the band's bass player, Mark Hoppus, as you mentioned, Bob, wrote it when he was in a state of depression about being on tour and having no one to go home to. Tom and Travis had their girlfriends waiting back home, so they had something to look forward to at the end of the tour, but he didn't. So he was always lonely on tour, and when he got home, he was lonely as well. And he mentioned this in a Rolling Stone interview in 2000. And I mean, maybe talking about aliens and being weird had something to do with it, Mark. I don't know, but I don't know.
No, that's Tom. That was Tom.
Oh, that was Tom. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's why he got all the chicks. One guy had tattoos and a mohawk. The other guy talked about aliens, and Mark was like, "I play the bass." And,
got him mixed up.
That only works for Paul McCartney, sir. Sorry.
The line, "I took my time, I hurried up, the choice was mine, I didn't think enough," refers to the 1991 Nirvana song, "Come As You Are." And I mean, and there's a line, in that song, "Take your time, hurry up, the choice is yours, don't be late." So good sort of callback to a band that influenced a lot of us growing up in the 90s, probably the most influential band of the 90s. There's a lot of heavy tone to this song, but the band has stressed it's about finding your inner strength when you're down and depressed. And it's such an important message, especially for a lot of young people this band was influencing. Being young can be so difficult. I mean, you struggle, you're unsure, you're uncomfortable, you're confused, you're old enough to feel a certain way, but you don't quite fully understand why. And I think this song is super important because people felt heard and they felt seen, like, oh, this band that I love knows what I'm going through. They're not just singing about, bathroom humor. They know that things cut deep, that.
Yeah, dude, it definitely an emotional connection to it, dude.
Absolutely.
That's what hit hard with this one.
It's emotional, it's honest, and explores a very difficult topic. And the contrast is it's coming from a band that you associated with laughter and the goofball energy. I think this brings it more levity. Like, these guys whom I love can feel like me and they can express what I feel. So I think that was so important. Coming from a band like this, it's such an important song to the band's evolution and maturation. It's more nuanced and it spoke to a tone that many of their fans felt. Their fans went from their happy songs made me feel happier to their sad songs make me feel understood. And that's even more important. They took a risk and pushed boundaries, and it's a good song. I enjoy the change and the arrangements of it. It really is a great song, Bob. And when I watch the video, it's one of those songs that I don't really look for, but when it comes on the radio, I'll listen to it. And so when I intentionally went to go look for it, by the way, I mean, it has millions and millions of downloads. It's probably one of their most downloaded songs, downloaded videos on YouTube. And when I watched it, I was focusing on it. And I was like, man, this was a better song than I remembered.
Yeah.
So, I mean, great selection. What do you think, Joseph?
As far as the competition wise, if people want to look at it like that, if people really listen to our shows in the looking for a competition, then this is probably going to be the one that they're going to gravitate to.
Life is a competition, Joseph.
It is definitely a beautiful, wonderful song that probably does it define this band? I don't think so. Is it one of their most well-known, popular, most celebrated songs in the entire history of the band? Most definitely. It's something that you didn't expect from this band, right? It was kind of came out of nowhere. I remember hearing this song because I heard get this CD before.
I hear that motorcycle.
He called it. Next we'll hear sirens.
Bonzi
gunshots.
I remember hearing this song from the album before they released it as a single and doing the music video. And it just came out of nowhere on the track, going from track to track. And it was great. It was a wonderful song. I did not expect that. Listening to the lyrics, of course, you take your own, what you interpret from those lyrics in your own, to your own opinions, I guess. We all are aware of its thing, but it's definitely the most surprising. Just only looking at this, because if you listen to like their first demo, Buddha, and then the Cheshire Cat album, and then Dude Ranch, I'm sure like people had a one-track mind on who this band was, and I love how they came out and just surprised everybody and told them like, oh, you know what, basically, fuck you. We're more than just that. These because they were young. They were more than just these dumb kids that do drink and smoke weed and have party and have a good time. We're more than that, and it was really cool. And I like what you said, Ran. I like how you said that, like, yeah, dude, we're all humans. We all feel different things at different times, and it was cool for a band like this who wrote the typical songs that they wrote to write a song like this so that their fans, hey man, we hear you guys. It's basically telling their fans, we hear you, we understand, and we feel just like you. And I really liked it. It's definitely maybe top 5 in their entire catalog, I'd say. Very, 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 very great, strong selection there, Bob. Very great pick. Very great song.
Thank you, man. And if people want to, what I love about this one, you listen to a song like "Let's Stay Together for the Kids," and I think that's another one that has like a similar feel to it, being like, "Hey, we hear you. We've gone through similar shit," and like lyrics that reflect that. So I think those two songs definitely
we care about you. I love it.
Yeah, exactly,
we care about
like
you
guys,
guys,
we're on the same fucking like saying like we're on the same level. We go through the same shit. We're regular people that have and it showed how much depth the band had. So I think that the song it's just different. It's great for me, in my opinion.
Titles are so important, and I think calling it Adam's song is, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but Adam is the first human being aware of God, right? So I think it was Blink-182 showing their awareness of who they were, and not just this like, goofy toilet humor pop punk band, but they were aware that they were more than that. So I don't know, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I mean, I thought it was cool, a good title.
That's a good way. That's a great little way to think about it. That's cool.
Yeah,
great interpretation.
Cool. Yes. Mm-hmm. What do you got for us, Joseph?
I'm going to keep bringing us down. I think we're seeing, like, this is an evolution of maturity for this band. We are, I think, in 2 months, where there's a certain time in our lives, all 3 of our lives, where we are in the same decade age range, I guess. And in 2 months, I'll be 40, and I think we'll all be in our 40s at least. So, something like
a little while longer for me.
What advice, right? Don't pick up your hand and make that gesture anymore. Anyway,
something like that is rare, but we're all getting older, right? So I think you know where I'm going with this. My selection is probably going to surprise some people, but I selected the recently released "One More Time" off of the band's latest album of the same name. So we've already established that, as used, the bulk of this band's subject matter for their early albums, was relationships or lack thereof, adolescence, immaturity, dick, farts, and masturbation. And in no way am I taking anything away from that. I love those songs. I really do. I was reminded of how much I love those songs doing the build up to this episode. But I really like to see this Blink-182, this older, mature sounding Blink-182, but also still being that same Blink-182. Because if you listen to this new album, there are still a lot of great pop punk sounds that maybe sound a little bit rockier at times. This subject is not always about partying and having fun, but like still having a good time, just an older fun time, I guess. Anyway, One More Time is an emotional reflection on the band's history and personal issues that have plagued the band over the years, touching on topics such as their own mortality, the years-long friendship that has suffered 2 separate falling outs, and personal struggles with each other. I love that both Tom and Mark sing verses on this song and sort of acts as a sit-down conversation between each other, addressing the tragic events and issues and animosity that have brought them to this point. I really liked how they both sang their lines to each other. And I know, Travis doesn't sing any of this, doesn't really sing on the songs. He actually kind of sings a few lines on this one, just the One More Time parts. But for Travis and Tom, it's kind of like 2 against 1. I know that kind of sucks, but it's Tom kind of, I think, sings his part, also speaking for Travis. So it's, you get that dynamic. I love how they sang their verses kind of to each other, and then the next chorus they sung both together, singing kind of united, telling each, it was a great, that's probably one of my favorite parts of the song. It's raw and it's honest, it's heartfelt in a way that, as we've grown up along with the band, I feel like we can relate to in a way. I think it's some of the most real and honest lyrics that they've put into a song together in a long time, probably since maybe Adam's song, sort of on that level. And that's, not a diss to your song at all, Randy. Like I said, you had a great selection. I love Damn It. That's a really great song. I know it's not the typical pop punk sound that we've come to know and love, but it didn't need to be. There was at one point Tom brought up the idea to have the song build up to a guitar heavy ending, but decided against it, and it was the right thing to do. It is what it is. It's an emotional exorcism, so to speak, to rid themselves of anger towards each other and not waste time and moments that they still have together. And I guess that's kind of something that we're all trying to do ourselves as we all, as we're getting older. So I really liked this song. When I heard it, it kind of spoke to me in a way. And like I said, as the band has gotten older, so have we. And it's kind of like we've been along for the ride for everything that they've been through. So it's really good to see a united front, to see these guys making music again. And I think this is that song. And I know it just came out, and I know it's the older song, but I think it works because we're older.
Yeah, I agree with that 1,000,000%. It works because we're older, man. Exactly like we mentioned, like I mentioned before with My Choice Adam's song, the lyrics took on a different meaning as we got older. They didn't mean the same thing when we were 17 as they do now that we're 40 or that I'm 40. But one more time, having heard it and seeing the music video, man, that's a fucking it'll choke you up, man. That you listen to the lyrics, and the song overall is great. I wasn't always the biggest fan of Tom's voice. I was always a big Mark Hoppus fan. Like, I preferred the songs that he sang. He took the lead on. Check out "I Miss You." But I think here the growth in his voice, and because he's older now, man, he sounds so good now. He sounds really, really great. And I love how you said that the comparison where they're kind of like singing the songs to each other. The lyrics on this are just fucking heartbreaking and tough. And I think it's a conversation that a lot of people have with like family members or friends they lost touch with. Especially the lyrics. Yeah, I know the lyrics that kind of like hurt the most or punch the hardest were like, it shouldn't take a sickness or airplanes falling out of the sky. Like, you fucked up, man. You know what I mean? Because both situations that happened with Mark and with Travis Barker, one of my favorite lines from his older, but nothing's any different. You know what I mean? Because they don't feel different. They feel like they're the same, I'm sure. I love this is where Rand, I mentioned, you asked for mention, you mentioned the Beatles, and you guys are going to say I'm comparing them to the Beatles. I am in this point. The Beatles released a song this past year, Now and Then. It was a song by John Lennon, who created the lyrics. Paul and Ringo, they ended up cleaning it up and were able to release the song. And it's kind of like an "I miss you" type of feel to it, like singing a song to each other, like,
good comparison.
Yeah. So I think that this song greatly compares to that, like, except they're still alive. You know what I mean? Some of them maybe couldn't have been because of the illness, with Mark battling cancer, because of that tragic accident with Travis Barker in the airplane. Shit's happened. So it's kind of poetic in the sense that they got a chance to actually write this song together and kind of say shit that they really wanted to say to each other while they're still alive. When like a band like the Beatles with that Now and Then song, they didn't. So it's a great pick, dude. Completely different. Again, the Adam song, the Let's Stay Together for the Kids, and this song, I think really, really are very comparable to each other. And it's a tone that I really like from this band that shows how great they are, dude. Like I said, top maybe the best pop punk band of all time. But a song like this, man, Aftermath, so many years later, it's a great, great, great fucking song lyrically and musically. And I'm glad you picked it, dude. It's a good one to talk about.
I think that before you go, Rand, I'm sorry. The part that I really liked about this song, like I mentioned, as we've growing up alongside the band, as they've gotten older, we've gotten older, reading about everything that they've gone through and experienced, the horrific tragedies, the plane crash and Mark's sickness. The part that I took from the song that I thought was like crazy was where they both sing that "I miss you, took time, but I'll admit it. It still hurts even after all these years, and I know that the next time ain't always gonna happen." I was like, that's fucking like, that hit you, like, or that hit me. I was like, that's deep. This song. These guys are again just surprising you, I guess, making you feel more than just like, and that's a sign of a good band, I guess, right?
They can do everything. They can make you happy. They can make you excited. They can make you sad. They can make you think. Yeah.
So I thought that was a really, really, really great line. Ran, I'm sorry.
No, that was good. I could imagine that listeners of this show, they're like, "Oh, badass! This comedy podcast is going to talk about a comedy band."
We just brought the somber tone. See, we can switch it up just like Blink-182, folks. That's what we're trying to do. This is very smart. This is next level shit, guys.
We're mirroring the band, right?
Exactly.
So
we went through the career.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, every emotion.
Why do I get the feeling that this song was written as a therapeutic exercise where the band had to write notes to each other and read them out loud, like in front of a therapist? I mean, it's really good. In 2008, Blink-182 drummer Travis Barker was badly injured in a harrowing plane accident that claimed 4 lives. And the band had been on hiatus since 2005, but reunited after the fateful crash.
Yeah.
7 years later, guitarist Tom DeLonge left the band, and there was a huge void. DeLonge returned after Mark Hoppus was diagnosed with cancer. So every point that you guys made about them coming back together, it was all etched out and put into this wonderful song. One More Time is a reflection and collection of thoughts. It's a ballad about regrouping. It would be like us discontinuing this podcast and calling each other up and saying, "Hey, you know what? Let's do a Best of Jackie Chan movie podcast. Come on, guys, one more time."
Just for old times. Just for old times.
Guys, what do you think about a reunion? Couple new songs, mainly old stuff.
Can I get one of those shirts?
Speaking of Can't Hardly Wait.
Yeah.
By the way, I hope the only catastrophe that brings us back together is that my microphone breaks and you guys present me with a new one or something. We don't want to go through the shit Blink-182 went through. So what I love about this song is that it's so well balanced and constructed. It references Tom's departure, Mark's battle with cancer, and Travis's plane crash. We all grow up, and this song makes you reflect. I don't want to get too deep on this, but I love doing this podcast with you guys because our lives are so busy. It would be impossible to connect. I mean, past text messaging, right? Past sharing memes and reels on Instagram like Blink-182, right? So this keeps us connected the way the music keeps them connected. Now, I compared them to the Beatles. Now I'm comparing us to Blink-182. Okay, so this song...
I mean, we're stretching you know what I mean? Whatever works.
This song reminds us that there's more time than there is life, and it's incumbent on you to keep the connection before you're strangers reconnecting through tragedies or not being able to reconnect at all. So next time doesn't always happen is the message of this song. And this song is 2 years old, and I had never watched the video until this week, until last night. And I love the video, the changing sets, calling back to the old videos in concert.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
awesome.
brilliant. Yes, the old videos and photographs. I mean, much like Adam's song, they're so full of nostalgia and memory, and a part of seeing how much they have all aged. This song punches us with the realism that we all grew up with this band. You guys have mentioned it's kind of the theme of this episode is that we grew up with this band. That's why we're talking about, are they our favorite band or the best band in the world? No, maybe not, but we all grew up with this band. That's why it's so important that we're talking about them. So emotionally, I think it's their strongest song. It's right up there with Adam's song, and I think it's Mark and Tom's strongest vocal chemistry. It's a love song.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's a love song about best friends, and it blends vulnerability and self-awareness. A lot of bands would never do this. Like, you'll never hear Metallica write a song forgiving Lars about being such an asshole about Napster. Like, it's okay, Lars, yeah.
James would probably kick his ass.
We forgive you.
Lastly, terrible. Come back to the "I miss you" fucking.
Lastly, when I saw him perform this in concert, the way they lit the stage and how the band members were positioned on stage, like they weren't facing each other. They all had like their backs to each other. Like they all had their little like sections, and the crowd was. I mean, you could hear a pin drop when this song came on. It was very quiet, and I mean, man, you could feel the warm energy of the song, and you could see people crying. It was incredible. I mean, lost love and second chances, never a terrible thing to reflect on. And I think Blink-182 came with this song, and it's just an amazing song. A great selection. I love this song too, Joseph.
I'm glad that you really you checked out the video, because I told Bob that the other day. I know we're almost done here, but I told Bob, I was like, I don't want to like put any emphasis on the video. Like the video makes the song better, but it does.
Yeah, it does.
The video was really awesome. I told Bob the other day too. I said the only thing I would have changed that I thought would have been cool was if like they had at the end zoomed out and like the 3 younger versions of themselves like were standing alone watching them, and you just like some kind of CGI AI type shit. But no, I was like, wow, you know what? It would have been cool if like younger versions of themselves were looking at them like through the years. That would have been cool.
And it was
Tom, if you're listening, and Mark, redo the video.
We love you.
So, guys, as we wrap up, what are your final thoughts of Blink-182?
Look, call me crazy.
Okay, crazy.
This is definitely a very successful, generational spanning band, and I think at some point they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I really do.
Okay.
Ooh, I could definitely agree with that, man. I think the word underrated should definitely be used with this band. I think they're very underrated when you look at the whole of rock and roll. But if you take into account like 1999, 98, and the 2000s, you can't talk about rock and pop and punk without mentioning these guys and the stranglehold they had on music during this time period. So I think they're a very important band. I think that they added a different subgenre to the, I guess you could say, the punk rock scene. And I think they're a great band. Great lyrics, great songs, great fucking music videos. They're a cool band, man. And I think that definitely underrated. Definitely underrated.
The most special thing I could say about this band is that they were the first concert for both my kids. And it's funny because just to share something really cool is, we always make fun of the I miss you and where are you? But when
the spiders.
When Tom sang that lyric, like there was a buildup and they stopped all instrumentation and the whole entire arena, where are you? I mean, it was just a very special moment. So, I mean, the fact that you could get an entire arena to sing along with you, to really feel your ups and your downs, your highs and your lows, it's just a very powerful thing. And it's such an emotional thing. And of course, I told you guys that it was my kid's first concert, and you never forget your first concert. Huey Lewis, I've never forgotten about you.
Gosh, God, Huey Lewis on the news. I know people still read the newspaper. Jesus Christ!
I know for you guys, Backstreet Boys, you never forgot about them.
It was Oleander and Collective Soul. That was my first one. Oleander and Collective Soul.
What was yours again, Joseph?
First live show?
Yeah.
Deftones, Incubus, and Taproot.
Yeah, fuck you. You missed football practice, and we had to play with the other guy.
Best fucking first show I could have ever asked to see. I saw that this was at the height of Incubus's, like,
and it was on Halloween, so they're all in costumes.
Night. Yeah, they came out as dressed as a Star Wars in Star Wars attire, uniforms, and just dude, that was. I mean, Deftones are probably one of my favorite bands of all time. So that them being the first band I saw live, that was pretty fun.
I still think I got both of you beat with Huey Lewis and then.
So we'll take a poll. Deftones and Incubus probably Huey Lewis. I think Oleander probably a little ahead of Huey Lewis.
Go ahead, Joseph.
Before I just want to remind everybody, like, yeah, we're gonna put it together. I'm gonna go ahead and put together the list of all the great songs that we talked about. So look for this as a companion to this episode, which I hope you all have enjoyed up to this point until Randy started talking about Huey, son of a bitch. I ruined my own diss.
Go ahead. I'll edit it out and say
Huey Lewis and the news. Don't edit.
This being my kids' first concerts, I mean, they loved it, right? I mean, I have a video on my Instagram where my kids are singing along to All the Small Things. Just a special memory for me, and I always love it.
Badass, dude.
I'll be the first to admit I didn't think this band would be around 28 years after I initially heard them, but here they are. Still kicking ass, still selling out arenas, still together. But of course, I mean, they are innovators, right? They're in touch with their emotions, and for better or for worse, they redefine punk music. Their legacy is multifaceted. Great hooks, fast rhythms, emotional vulnerability. They taught us that punk can be both hilarious and deeply touching. And if you would have told me when they launched to a different level with 1999's, Enema of the State, that they'd still be evolving and going strong, but still yet have their youthful charm, I wouldn't have believed you. But this band has really surprised me. So underrated, absolutely. And they've done wonderful.
I agree, man. Agreed. 100%.
And that's our show, everyone. Listeners, we'd love to hear from you. Hit us up and let us know what you think Blink-182's best song is. Most importantly, let us know what you think about the show. You may reach us at formidableopponents@gmail.com and follow us on all forms of social media by searching for Formidable Opponents. We want to thank Creative Little Pill for her great artwork. Please follow her on Instagram at Creative Little Pill. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on any podcast platform you're listening to us on. And join us next episode. We'll be back with Best Chappelle Show skit. So for Bob and Joseph, we'll see you next time.
Special.